self-awareness. While there are an infinite number of questions that you could ask yourself for the purpose of growing in self-awareness, there are a handful that stand out. Well, for me, they really do stand out, and in this podcast, that's what we're going to break down for you. Well, self-awareness, so much is to be said about self-awareness, and I really just want to break this down in a way that it can be mutually beneficial. And if you watched it so far, it means we've sparked your interest, which is absolutely fantastic. And I urge you to follow through with the rest of the short podcast. It's very short, won't take much of your time. And if it resonates with you, to do the self-reflection afterwards. So, self-awareness. Let's start with the story. There were two siblings, and their parents weren't very functional, and they passed away at a very young age, the parents did, and left the two siblings to do what they needed to do in the world. Years later, one of the uncles managed to track them down and invite them for a family reunion. The one sibling, in essence, was he ended up turning in and out of rehab. He was in unstable positions, had to go to counseling sessions, and the uncle asked him, he asked him a question. So, what happened? How come your life's turned out this way? And his response was, well, what can you expect with a life that I've had? And then later on in the evening, the other sibling, the uncle, saw him, and they spoke. He was very successful, and he did well. He had married someone. He managed to have multifaceted businesses. His children were sustainable in essence, in how society determines them to be stable. And he asked the same question: how is it that your life turned out the way that it did? And he says, well, what do you expect? I had no option. So in essence, there's two factors. You either have a positive factor, which is your winning attitude, or you have your loser attitude. I don't like to use the word loser, but you have that negative impact. And if you can look inside yourself and you can face those moments, face your shadow self, irrespective of how traumatic it is, but truly face yourself, be self-aware, then you can put those principles on how you want to be moving forward. Remember, there's a wonderful saying that what does not serve us today, get rid of it. What did not serve us yesterday, and we're following on with the same way, the same mannerisms today, delete it, dissolve it, get rid of it. And in that way, when you can face yourself and face your shadow self, then you're on the right step to being that winner, to being that virtuous, congruent, to being that best version of yourself. Well, in the rest of the podcast, there's a little bit of self-help and self-reflection questions. And if it resonates with you and you want to just ask yourself the questions and see how you can apply it in your life, if they're negative, positive, how you can adapt and change it for the better you, for you to be the best version of yourself, then go ahead and try it. Much love to you all. Well, we've got to that stage in the podcast where the road is about to hit the rubber. There are 14 questions that I've outlaid throughout the rest of the podcast. They're designed to assist you to face your shadow self, for you to look inwards, and in hindsight to be the best version of yourself. And that is all that I want to do, is to assist you by looking inwards and looking outwards to be the absolute best that you can actually be. With self-awareness, how does ideal you act and behave? Are your life goals and life ambitions congruent? Are they truthful to yourself and to others? In what ways and what areas of your life are you irresponsible? Which one of your habits costs you more than you would actually like in life? How do your beliefs and your worldviews positively serve you today? How might your beliefs and your worldviews undermine you today? When thinking about your parents, in what ways must you never be like them? In what ways, when you think about your children, that they must never be like you? How might those people that are close to you, that are really close, how would they define you? In what ways are you self-centered or narrow-minded? In what ways can you change? How aware are you of the thoughts that occupy your mind? Ask this to yourself. What triggers an unhealthy emotional response in me? In what areas of my life am I not fully transparent to others? How do you like it when other people are not fully transparent to you? Well, you have made it. If you're still watching this video, then you've done the whole 9 yards. And take your arms, put them right high in the air, drop it behind your back, and give a good pat. Well done. You are part of the journey. You've realized that by facing your shadow self and by facing those insecurities, those limited beliefs that you have, it is one step closer for you to be more virtuous, be more congruent, and be the best version of yourself. Until next time, namaste.